Hey, what's happening, all you dudes and dudettes? This is Dudes Talking Freedom back at you once again. This is Luke. I'm here with Jeremy and Vince. Hey, guys, DTF?
You know I'm DTF.
I'm always DTF.
I'm definitely DTF. We're brought to you by Warriors for Freedom, a nonprofit that creates pathways to engage service members, veterans, and their families to prevent suicide, create camaraderie, and help them live their best lives. Check them out at warriorsforfreedom.org. All right, folks, we're talking freedom and whatever the hell else we want to talk about, so let's get into it, shall we?
Yes, dude.
I thought you were going to say no.
No,
I was
mean,
like,
I would never say no.
Should we? Should we?
Always
Maybe not.
should.
I don't know.
So, what a fucking whirlwind of a week. We had Garrett Linker from our town's school board on last week.
Trust.
Talk about what it's like post-election victory. And earlier this week, huge lawsuit dropped on the ISD. And for folks who are not from the Texas area that listen to our show, an ISD is an independent school district. They're kind of different than the way things operate in other parts of the country. I was new to what ISDs were when I moved down here because I'm from the Northeast. We didn't really have ISDs. We just had our town school, whatever. But these are fairly large.
Did you guys have like
districts.
Royale with cheese up there?
Yeah, we did have a Royale with
Wawa, bro.
But the school districts are big deals up here. I mean, you've got in towns, you've got 6, 7, 8, 12 high schools. It's like it's crazy, right? So, but these allegations are of child molestation by a bus driver, which is, if not already, it's going to be national news, I would imagine.
Yeah, my brother Sean actually called me today, and he lives in Philly, and he said he actually saw something on his news feed about Prosper. And he goes, I thought that's the town you live in.
Yeah.
Because he listens to us continuously.
Yeah.
And he knew about it. He was shocked to hear about how many high schools in Frisco, but I think it's kind of going maybe from people like myself that's posting it, and then my friends that live in Philly, or if it's national news, I'm not sure yet.
I mean, it's a pretty
Sad.
shitty thing.
It is. And I mean, it's going to work itself out, right? Like, it's terrible that it happened. And it probably wouldn't have been as big a deal nationally if it wasn't hidden and swept under the rug for the entire summer. Or really, we're not really positive when they, the administration, the superintendent, and, the school's leadership found out about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it started like in late September of 2021, and it continued until early May of 2022. 5 and 7-year-old girl, last to get off the bus every single day.
Sisters.
Jane Doe's.
5
minutes off, 5 minutes after everybody else gets off.
Yeah. He said that she was helping him pick up trash on the bus whenever he was questioned about it, which I think, the fact that no one raised a concern about this being like a regular occurrence, the same girl, 100 days, that kind of thing. And then I guess as soon as the cops saw the bus cam footage, they arrested him after the allegations back in May. But no one found out about this until Sunday night when the story broke into Monday morning of this past week. No one in town that I know knew about this. It seemed like it was a surprise to everyone. And, it sounds like the school district is saying, we notified the other parents of the student, of the kids that were on the bus, but other parents are now coming forward with, their children's, now like that people have come forward. They're like, okay, more kids are saying, hey, or parents are having the conversation with their kids about it and asking them, hey, did anything happen bad on this bus? And maybe some kids are saying, yes, something bad did happen, And it sounds like the school board, I don't know what they did. Not the school board. The superintendent supposedly, as part of the allegations in the lawsuit, tried to kind of convince the parents that it wouldn't be a great idea for them or for the school district if this became like a big news thing.
Right. And they even talked about running, Special Olympics stories for smokescreen for the story. And just run the disabled out there in front of them, and they'll protect us. We'll hide behind the disabled people, And actually, Levi McCathern, which is kind of who set this big story off. He's the lawyer of Jane Doe's parents, right?
I love how you say lawyer.
Lawyer, yeah.
Lawyer.
That's funny. I dated a lawyer, and
lawyer,
and she always loved the way I said lawyer. It's
pretty good,
but I don't even know how to say it any different because I said it over and over and over again. She tried to change me, but she didn't. Can't change me. But anyway, Levi McCathern was quoted saying the family was so concerned about confidentiality and specifically further damage to their kids that they debated for a while whether they wanted to take any action at all. And he said that in his mind it would have been because those two girls are forever going to be known potentially if their names get out and somebody figures it out, which they might. They're going to be known as the two girls that got taken advantage of on the bus. Yeah, molested.
It's horrible to say.
It's terrible.
The teacher. How many people failed these two little kids? I can't imagine being a parent. I have two girls, 6 and a 3-year-old, and how irate I would be, and just devastated, heartbroken, angry. If you're a teacher, how do you not ask after 3-4 days of this of just, hey, little Sally over here, late again, unacceptable.
Yeah.
And you're a bus driver that's getting paid already. Why do you have to have a little kid teaching? When you start peeling the layers back, there has to be more to it where he, just speculating here, maybe he went to one of the teachers and the school and said, hey, let's teach these kids responsibility on cleaning up. And then maybe they check that box off. Someone had to approve of them to stay back to help clean up the buses. Someone
I just think by the time Christmas rolls around and they're at the 5 to 7 minutes late off the bus every time, and by the way, they have a camera on the bus
that no one
pointed at the bus,
hey, for.
These kids are late getting off the bus. Maybe we should check the camera.
And didn't you say, or you read somewhere that he was moving the bus sometimes to different locations?
Well, new allegations apparently that I guess just came out in a story today.
Yeah.
By WFAA here in Texas. They were quoted as saying, I think the lawyer was quoted as saying he would park the bus in certain areas for as much as up to an hour.
Yeah.
But these, I believe, the way I understand the article to read is that these are new allegations from new kids. So he would supposedly, I would say allegedly,
I hate that word,
molest the two girls on the bus. Right? He did it. Look, this guy got arrested, jumped off the second floor of county, and ended up dying from his wounds. He killed himself because he knew that he was guilty. So
11 days later, he definitely kind of squirmed around for a while. So 11 days.
Yeah, he suffered.
Which sucks, man. Being a dad, you want to pull some law-abiding citizen shit.
Oh yeah. But now new allegations are coming out from other kids that he may have gone and parked this bus somewhere for up to an hour and done who knows what with.
So
other
possibly
kids.
The kids were on the bus for an hour? Is that what it is?
That's what I would read. That's what I would understand from the whole thing is, but I don't know. How do parents not notice if they're not home for an hour? That's kind of what I don't get.
Oh, you're saying I'm picturing them going to school. So this is after school when he's dropping them
I don't know
off at
when
house.
this is.
Listen, kids right now, because there's a big bus driver problem, apparently, that's what they blame it on, is kids are getting to school, and school starts at 7:42 in Texas elementary school, and they're getting to school at 11 a.m. because the buses are so far off of schedule. And then they're getting home like as late as 6 p.m.
Where's this?
Here in Prosper.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And that's just like,
We drive our kids.
well, yeah. I mean, like we live really close and we work from home.
Yeah.
Like we're blessed to have that ability. But not all parents have that.
Yeah,
ability,
I understand.
You know,
Yeah, kids ride the bus. I get
and
it.
they ride the bus. That's why there's a bus system, right? Like, so I mean,
You
it's
mentioned
crazy.
you mentioned earlier part of that article I was reading that one of the teachers that actually came out, they said that they were being coached on how to keep this under wraps. Don't talk to anyone about it. Let's talk about the other positive things that we have going on, like the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And that was coming from the top of the school on trying to keep this under wraps. And you would think, I don't know if it's the poster child of this, but school, like every school should learn from Penn State and what they try to do up there
the
with
Sandusky.
and trying to keep the good name. And look how bad that backfired.
This superintendent, like, has got to go. I mean, clearly is more concerned with the image of the school district than with the welfare of
Step down, Holly
any
Ferguson.
of its
Step down.
of any of its children.
So I guess that's another argument. God, I lost my train of thought. What the hell?
So, you know, when Levi McCatherine dropped that lawsuit, it's a $5 million lawsuit. So that really kicked it off. And it makes you wonder, in that same article, that WFAR article that you were referencing, a lot of other families are starting to come forward.
Yeah.
Every day they say in the actual interview on WFAA that more families are coming forward, but they interview a child psychologist and she's saying that, you know, the likelihood of their stories being legit, all of them, you know, I mean, I'm not calling them all liars or anything like that, but the child psychologist is saying that the likelihood of them being legit stories, it diminishes over time.
It does, yeah.
You know, and this has been 4 months now from when they allegedly found out about it, you know, and it could have been sooner. It could have been more months. And these kids, you know, they can make stuff up. The questions are asked to them in weird ways from the parents. And some of the parents may be interested in a little bit of pie in the sky, some of that $5 million, you know? I mean, you hate to throw that out there. And I'm not saying that the parents are, but, you know, there's some humans out there. Some of them, I mean, I bet one of the people might be, you know.
This is a quote from
hopefully none.
One of the lawyers on the case. Something that's brazen. It's not going to be the first time that he's done something like this. More and more come forward every day, and it's absolutely shocking. So,
how many? Do we know how many years he's been driving that bus?
We have no. It doesn't say. I have not seen anything with that kind of detail. But
I'm curious to find that out.
Yeah.
Oh, and what I was saying earlier, the argument is I'm curious about, let's say, Dr. Ferguson or the superintendent and some of the things that are coming out now. Let's say they did everything by the book. They were approached. Hey, this is the allegation. They reported it. They check all those boxes off. Should they still be forced to step down? Is it so tainted now that we need a whole new board? Do we need new leadership?
Well, listen,
it's not the board. Right.
Yeah, it's not the board.
Or
The board.
They didn't even know about it.
And they don't hire. I don't think they even hire her, do they? Who hires her? Not the school
What's
board, is
her
it?
What's her title?
She's superintendent.
Superintendent of all the schools
All
in
of the
Prosper.
independent school district, the whole independent school district for Prosper, PISD.
Wow.
So she is, and then the school board is responsible for. So that the ISD is responsible for like the curriculum and the management of the school systems and the buses and all that, and the school board is responsible for oversight, I believe. Isn't it an oversight?
The board of trustees votes unanimously. So yeah, the board of trustees votes on the finalist for superintendent.
Okay.
That's the way it was done.
So the board just had
Plano
3 new people come on
this year, and it was done just recently, yesterday in Fort Worth. Yeah, so it is the board.
or 2 new people. 1 person was reelected to their role.
Right, it's 2 every year they
Yeah.
run. You know,
So-
they hold them for 3 years.
And then the article was talking about someone else that's still employed there, but they took a different title. but same responsibilities. Did
Uh,
you see that also part of the article? Still making like $430,000 a year. It was something ridiculous.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also a part of all this. I got to dig deeper into the article, but
Yeah, and there's another guy that actually moved over to, I guess, a private school, a different school, basically, and started teaching there.
sounds like the Catholic Church.
Yeah, we'll just move
Just
them around.
kidding.
Well, I mean, it does.
I went to the school. You know, they moved. Father Charles went from my high school, took out $1 million, molested a bunch of boys, and just put them in a different school.
Well, that's
He used to come up behind me every day and grab me by the back of the neck and go, "How's it going, Vinny?"
Really?
I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Father Charles?" He was a boxer in the Army and stuff like that. And then it turns out the year after I graduated, my buddy's like, "Check this out." He stole $1 million, doing a bunch of drugs, a bunch of blow, and literally blowing high school boys.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I liked the guy. I was like, "What am I not? Was I not good looking?" No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so this is, and I'll probably get some heat for this, but that's where this term minor attracted person comes into play. Okay.
Yeah.
Maps.
Yeah. That's where they're trying to rebrand pedophile, because the big problem with pedophilia and child sexual abuse is the stigma surrounding it. And nobody wants to talk about it because it's so fucking stigmatic, right? It's just nobody wants to talk about it. So essentially what you do is you bring it down a level and you reduce that extremism on it so that people feel more comfortable to talk about it, because everybody wants to brush all this shit under the rug.
They're fucking pedophiles, dude.
100%.
What's the new T-shirt that you thought of before we started the podcast about maps?
Yeah, we're gonna have some T-shirts printed up. Say, "Fuck minor attracted pedophiles,"
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
because it's not a minor attracted person. It's a fucking pedophile.
Yeah.
If they're attracted to minors, they're by definition a pedophile.
I agree 100%, but I'm just trying to.
Why would you be in hot water about that?
Well, I mean, just because people may take what I say out of context, essentially, right? Like that's what
like
I'm
the
saying
media?
is like I'm not.
The Texas Observer
Exactly.
would do something like that.
Somebody like that. But all I'm saying is like this is their motive behind changing it. It's some people's motive. I'm sure it's other people's, like there's some other crazy, more fucked up motive around that. But like, you know,
we got to work.
that's
on
where
that.
I could see how it could be helpful with the situation of pedophilia and child molestation from
I can see what
a
you're saying.
global problem.
I can see what you're saying. The stigma of the word pedophile doesn't. People are cautious to discuss it, even if they're against it. They're cautious to discuss it. It's such a stigma in any direction.
Yeah. They don't
I-
want to catch
I don't
flack. In their
think-
organization, they don't want to catch flack.
Yeah, I still just I don't know how you can call it anything else. I think people just need to stop being fucking pussies and start talking about it, because it's a problem.
Yeah, there's
It's a
definitely
fucking big
video
problem.
going viral right now. I think it was a school in El Paso or something like that, where a teacher, one of the kids put out a cell phone. It was a high school, probably like a juniors or seniors, and the teacher was arguing exactly about these maps and saying, look, they're not pedophiles. They're minor or attracted persons, you know, whatever. And you hear a bunch of the kids in the class going, no, like fighting back. And the teacher's arguing with them, like trying to shove it down their throats and saying, hey, this is what the reality is. You're right. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm the teacher. So this is the way it is. And
this is where parents get more involved in understanding like what's going on in the schools, right? And then demanding that behavior fucking stop. Because, and I mean, look, like, and if you're cool with that kind of behavior, got some problems that you need to like look inside yourself a little bit, because that's fucked up.
I said this in the past, probably on one of the earliest podcasts we ever had, when we're talking about some of the police brutality and stuff like that, where they have cameras with video and audio. I'm all about video, but we should be up there, public servants, these public school teachers. Why not, same as a police officer, have audio in a classroom? I just don't understand why they don't, and it's just video. And the reason why it's because they know certain parents might hear something, and then they might argue with them and show up in class and be like, you're wrong, you know, you're teaching the wrong history. Oh, who knows what it is?
Yeah, it could set off a chain of events that, like, you know, where some nut job.
But this climate
loses it.
man, to me, it's, you gotta,
There has to be more oversight.
I want to know what the hell you're teaching
Yeah.
my kid.
I absolutely do too. But it is a double-edged sword,
Right.
Because then the same thing can happen to that teacher or that bus driver. And if you have some kid that's got some systemic problem that continuously behaves this way, sometimes you have to do something a little bit volatile in order to get their attention. I'm not saying, anything, unlawful, right? But like they can take a little soundbite like mainstream media does, and they can take that piece of information and extrapolate that and basically conflate that image of you so that you're this just big, megalomaniac person that's always, trying to like hate and punch down on children essentially. So
yeah,
I think that's the double-edged sword with that approach. I think that's the kind of the reason
why they don't.
Yeah, they don't. And I think that there's a better case to have it with police officers because it's the amount of interaction per perpetrator and the amount of time that they have with that perpetrator. Because when you arrest somebody that got caught for speeding or breaking into somewhere, you're going to have like an hour tops, interaction, maybe, I don't know how long, but most of them are probably like, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe even less, your average interaction time. But the average interaction time for a teacher, that's a whole lot longer than even a bus driver. A bus driver is probably like, I don't know. I mean, for these prosper ones that are taking 3 hours to get their kids home and to school, yeah, but like that's kind of an anomaly. Most of the time, it's less than an hour and they're not really even having all that much interaction, So these teachers, especially elementary school teachers, they have these kids from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m., all day long, except for recess specials and lunch break.
Which
So like
makes
6 hours.
me as a parent even more concerned if they're having my kid probably speaking to them more than I am.
Yeah,
and
dude.
And that's the reality of it.
Well,
so
that's why like
what
what
are they indoctrinating them with?
Totally. That's why more and more parents every year now are adopting homeschooling. They're moving their kids out of public schools. They're either looking at, private schools become more and more expensive, right? And, inflation is going to affect that too, just like it does everything else. Especially as more and more people want to leave the public school systems and go to private schools, the demand is gonna be there. So that's going to increase the price as well.
But they're still cheaper than public school. Public school is far and away the most expensive per student per dollar
Right.
that there is. Like the Catholic Church can educate your child for half the amount of money that the government can.
Right. But don't you have to pay that in addition to what you're paying the government anyway through taxes? So you're pretty much paying for both no matter what. So it's either, hey, do I want to take advantage of the dollars I'm giving to the public school system and let them fucking indoctrinate my children?
Unless it's a charter school or if they're
charter
like
school, right.
vouchers. That's the thing about vouchers is you can take that money and reallocate it towards another institution.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot about, and by the way, that's just the way it's set up now. We have the power to change that. We can do away with taxes for school and start spending our own money on educating our children directly rather than handing it to some third party, AKA, the independent school district and having them being the stewards of our money. And I think they've shown time and time again, they're not very good stewards of our money.
No, kind of like the banks.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we just need to start a DTF University, K through 12.
DTFU.
We interview them all. We hire
Bitcoin
them.
for
We're the board.
education. We need Bitcoin for education.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach them just certain things. Yeah. Especially that.
Yeah.
Start teaching about Bitcoin and
Blockchain. Yeah.
Blockchain technology.
how to do a podcast when they reach, 8th grade.
Well, I always thought it would be a great idea if these colleges whose sporting departments they're so huge, these television contracts are enormous, but all these colleges, they have multimedia departments, sports and broadcasting department, journalism departments. Like with the accessibility of equipment, it doesn't take $1 million worth of equipment and cords and semis in order to produce a football game, and televise a football game anymore. These students could come together and televise all this stuff and call this stuff and do the color for this stuff and get the advertising for all these games. And we could do away with Fox, ESPN, and all the witches that got their hand in this cauldron.
Shark Tank.
Right.
Witches who've got their hands in this cauldron.
I mean,
I love it.
There's a lot of frog eyes and stuff in there, man. I don't know.
There is.
Ox jaws.
Yeah.
Gosh, you were mentioning
Pig's feet.
I like pig feet.
Chicken
chitlins.
legs. Some chicken feet.
chicken wing.
What were you
What's
saying?
up with
Hot
that?
dog and bologna.
The billboard in LA about the Texas dream dying.
Texas Miracle.
Some.
Yeah, Uvalde killed the Texas Miracle. So the Texas Miracle is basically everybody's coming to Texas from California because there's more jobs here and the unemployment rate is a whole lot lower. So it's just a better
Sick of the
environment.
policies as well.
No state income tax,
Yeah.
all that.
And they think they're trying to take the lives of children who died in Uvalde and trying to politicize them so that people don't move to Texas from California. That's
Can you
their
believe that?
solution to their communist, Marxist agendas, is to name call and punch down on little children that are in graves.
I saw the Drinking
Believe that
Bros
shit?
where they talked about it. They said it's on one of the busiest corners in LA, and they said that billboard probably costs about $25 to $30K a month.
And in San Fran.
Where's that money come from? Two, how many people need to sign off on that? Like it's
Probably the mayor of LA was like, "God,
Gavin
go ahead,
Newsom
go
was like,
put up.
shit.
Yeah, we'll get a subsidy from the governor. The mayor of LA is probably involved.
Kickbacks. Yeah, I'm sure. You would think. I mean, with the reputation that those folks have, yeah. Why
Mhm.
wouldn't you think so?
So you got Gavin Newsom who's going after Texas, and then the Florida governor doing the same exact thing also.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis, yeah.
Yeah. Well, whoever he's going up against.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's bashing Governor Abbott and stuff like that.
Seriously, I don't
Well,
need your type.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just stay. Like, if you like those policies, just stay with those policies. Don't come here and try to change our policies.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
even though you really can't.
Right. Was that Obama?
Yeah.
Well, you know, so real quick though, going back to the school thing, you've seen this Project Veritas, this new Project Veritas the school curriculum series that they're putting out of new videos, and I know last week, it might have been last week, where we talked about that Antifa teacher, right, with the flags and, you know, trying to, like, you get caught on video talking about indoctrinating kids and stuff. Well, now they have a new video in this series that they're releasing. I think the first one came out, I think it was today. If not today, it's coming out, you know, soon. I think it came out actually tonight. And they have this assistant or vice principal, assistant principal, whatever, at a public school in Greenwich, Connecticut, on video saying that they don't, talking about Catholic, Catholics who are teachers, we don't hire them. And, you know, going through his like rationale as to like why they don't hire them, and that their focus is on ensuring that their kids that go through their school end up voting Democrat. And he's on video saying this. It's like, so that level of indoctrination that we were just talking about, it's happening at who knows what level in the schools, because I don't know what level school he's a principal of. I don't know if it's elementary, middle, you know, high, whatever. But it's, that shit's happening, and it's, you know, like Amy said when we talked to her a while back, it's on its way to Texas. It's in Texas now, as we know, and like that type of thing is gonna start. We're gonna start hearing more and more about that exact kind of behavior, and that shit's scary.
It is scary, but it's getting so extreme. It's almost like, let's play this like Kung Fu, right? Kung Fu isn't an aggressive fighting style, right? You use your opponent's power against them. So what they're going to end up doing is it's just going to be this another boomerang, you know, another Scooby-Dooby-Doo episode, right? Where this stuff just comes back and bites them in the ass because they're just going to push so hard and so extreme that these kids are going to rebel against that. It's just like the DARE program, right? Let's don't do drugs. Drugs. Well, all these kids started doing drugs when you told them not to.
Yeah.
And they're going to get, this woke culture is going to get so in your face with these kids, and they're going to say, I don't want to do that either. It doesn't matter what it is. So maybe this is the right strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe we should just get so extreme on the opposite side and just play the reverse psychology all day long. Because I think it's going to come boomerang back at them because it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
It
It's
is.
just so dumb.
Also, part of that dare thing is kids were like, "Wait, it does what to you? What are the side effects?"
Yeah.
Okay,
Makes you laugh.
let me try this out.
Yeah.
I'll be the judge.
Makes you see some funny things.
Yeah.
Makes you laugh. Makes you enjoy music more.
Yeah,
Wait,
Luke, I'm
Sounds
kind of. I love that you're looking at the glass half full on that. I said this last week when Gary was here, just about the teachers and what they're teaching and stuff, and then all of a sudden all those videos came out about Project Veritas. I'm like, that's exactly what I've been saying for a while now. Just I'm so concerned. I don't think. Man, I'm a big believer that a lot of teachers now, they get underpaid drastically. And I'll just be frank with you. I feel that a lot of liberals, I got a liberal arts degree. You know what I mean? Like stupid ass fucking degrees are typically, I don't know. Certain individuals will probably vote for Biden. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Well, I mean, people
And they
who-
become fucking teachers. And then those ones are like, you know what? Here's our, and they accidentally fell into it. And they said, you know what? Look at our union. Maybe the National Teachers Union did a poll. And they said they figured out, you know what? We own about 70% of them are left leaning. Here's a new curriculum. Start pushing that out. And in 15, 20 years from now, we're going to run the polls. And that's the chess move they're going. I don't know. I'm just.
Well, that's called Fabianism. The Fabian Turtle, the Fabian Society. It's like a huge, like old school secret society that started back in like I think Europe. Actually, the Fabian Turtle is the logo on the UK Bank of England, maybe, or maybe one of their like schools there for finance or something like that. But anyway, the Fabian Society, their whole thing around the like aligning to the New World Order was to take it slow, like the turtle, right? Like the turtle wins the race, and the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
And so their whole concept, the whole Fabian concept, is to gradually, it's okay if it takes a century or 2 centuries, because their end game is total control of everything in the world. And so the school systems and indoctrinating children is just one part of that bigger, broader scheme of global control, globalism.
It's just like the girl that freaking won in New York. She was bragging about socialism wins. And you see that? Crazy young girl. I don't know what position. She's like the next AOC, and she's like in a bar. And she won some seat in New York. And
I
she's
saw.
like,
I did see
socialism
her.
wins. That's what we're talking about. And everyone in there is like, yeah, like freaking out. But it's slow and steady wins the race. And it's slowly and surely what's going to end up happening is 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, when they're all running the country and they own every single presidency that comes along because of the next generation, they have full control. And then we turn into a socialist country. And then it all falls down, burns itself to the ground, and builds itself back up. And then goes, like you were saying, the boomerang.
Yeah.
Slingshots the opposite way.
Big boomerangs.
And we're trying to fight it. And I think we're losing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think
we
they're right.
are.
I think that we're losing big time. And it's out of control.
I agree. I mean, we are losing, and that's why I think the boomerang has to come back. We got to take the other side of this bet because things are getting so lopsided.
All levels. Boys taking over sports. You got
Girl sports.
Oh yeah,
Boys
taking over girls sports. Sorry.
Right. The other thing that you started talking about, the turtle, and it reminded me of, it's a little bit off subject, but the turtle shell, did you know, is a visual match for the days and moons in a lunar year. If you look at the turtle shell, you'll see an outer ring of small scales, and these represent the 28 days in a lunar month. And you look at the larger scales inside the center of the shell, and there's 13 scales inside the center of a turtle shell. Look on the back.
I believe
You'll
you.
see it, and there's 13 moons.
It's God's
in a year.
work.
Isn't that incredible?
That's wild shit, dude.
It really is. I mean,
That stuff's mind blowing.
yeah.
13 colonies.
There you go.
How about that?
Whoa.
Wild.
13 stars.
But you can't. But
Turtle
you can't
power.
You can't display or talk about the Betsy Ross flag, or else you're considered a
Extremist?
extremist
Terrorist?
by the FBI, maybe like domestic terrorist, some
Really?
bullshit. Yeah, you didn't see that shit. I think Project Veritas leaked that too. Actually, it was a FBI leaked a document that showed.
Was this the FBI agent that was forced to leave? We getting into that
Timothy?
yet? Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, the Mar-a-Lago guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
his
finish
name,
that,
but-
and we'll go back to
Well,
that.
so like a few weeks ago, they came out like there was a leaked document from the FBI that basically was like a bulletin out to like police departments and law enforcement basically throughout the country, and it was like all the symbols that are considered domestic terrorist symbols now, and it's all the fucking like freedom shit. Like anyone who's like into freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Including the American flag.
Including the original American flag, the Betsy Ross American flag, right? Like the circle.
Yeah.
I've
been to the house where it was made.
Like Chris Kyle's Punisher symbol.
June 14th, Flag Day. Just don't forget about it.
Stuff like that. All that stuff, dude, is considered. It's like it's pretty soon you're not gonna be able to fucking put the American flag up anywhere because you're gonna offend too many people, and they're gonna be like, sorry, that person with the American flag is a domestic terrorist because he likes America.
That's what those protesters were yelling at that person right here in Texas.
Yeah, Roanoke, north of Fort Worth. Yeah.
And you had these hardcore Antifa all lined up in front of, what was it, a gay bar?
Yeah, it was a drag queen show where they had children inside the show, and the people that lived in the town were on one side of the street, and the armed Antifa crowd that were wearing all black, ski masks, ski
goggles and
goggles,
shit. I
the
saw
whole
that.
thing.
Yeah,
And
AR-15s.
So you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They're pulling a page out of Kyle Rittenhouse's book and saying, look, you got away with it. Talk about the cat calling the kettle black. I mean, it's what's the reason of them being? That's completely legal.
Didn't
but
they have?
She was yelling at one of the people. Was like, I live here. I live here. I'll try to pull up the clip.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, take off that racist whatever on your head. The woman's like, you mean the American flag? He's like, yeah, that is the most racist symbol out there.
It's the thing that's done
Super
more
racist.
to squash racism than
Yeah.
any other country on the face of the history of the planet. I mean, nobody's ever done anything as good as the United States as far as stamping out slavery, stamping out
human rights, all of it.
all of it.
That's what freedom's about.
It is.
And they want to take our freedoms.
Here's some of the clip.
I saw a picture. You can keep playing it. Okay. I saw a video though of like one of these like strippers or trans show, whatever it was, but they had a kid on a pole. Was that this event? Was this outside? There was a pole outside?
I don't think so.
All right.
So this is for all of our people.
Well, I did see
listening.
that in a different event somewhere else in the country.
So this is the Antifa yelling with. This is a citizen, or a person that lives in the community.
The one who says I'm not going anywhere?
Yep.
You'll have to shoot me, motherfucker. Oh, really? You're carrying a gun?
She's talking shit.
She has big chesticles.
She goes, "What's your serial number?" And the guy's hiding it.
What's your serial number?
I think this is where he mentioned something about the American flag on the hat, right here.
She's a medic. She had the medic
Go back to your town. Get out of my
patch
fucking
on her.
town. Get out of my town, motherfucker. This is my town. Get the fuck out.
That's right.
Get the fuck out. My town. Get out.
I don't blame her. I do not blame
When
her.
you get out of my town,
None of
I'll
these
go
people
back
are living in that town, and they all
So
have
get the fuck out of my town.
AR-15s.
Yeah, they just get bussed in to like stir up shit.
And here it is. When it comes down to it, is they're protecting. Nothing wrong with having a drag queen competition or whatever it is in the gay bar, but having little kids in there, and that's what they're protecting.
Yeah.
And then there's other adults that you saw in that video.
It's
so
coordinated.
disturbing.
Yeah.
That they're defending it also. It's
coordinated, dude. This is all very highly coordinated.
gosh, man, how do we get here?
Antifa had to know. They had to know that event was taking place, right? In order to be there and provide, quote, protection to them, right?
Someone reached out to him.
Someone let them know, or someone who knew the event was happening that had the event planned, right? Because these events are happening all over the place, fucking everywhere. Like you see them all over social media. You see these trans shows or, nude, strip shows with kids involved and like parades on the side of the street in like New York City. And, you see these like big booty chicks like freaking twerking and like kids are looking at it like on the
AOC,
side,
quoting Alex Stein, 99.
Yeah.
Big booty.
So you've got this going on everywhere. You know what I mean? It's happening all over the country and it's fucking gross. And people are bringing their children to these events. Mm-hmm. And Antifa had to know somehow, maybe it's like a Soros thing. Hey, we're going to fucking pump all these like crazy, like the LGBTQ thing is hot right now. So we're going to go and we're going to pump all these trans shows and stripper shows. And we're going to get kids in there and we're going to draw the kids in and we're going to, have these events, these wild events. And then we're going to let our Antifa partners know that there's these events happening so that they can go and run protection from the community. Somebody has to know what's going on. And Antifa had to get notified. They don't just fucking show up randomly to a strip club that happens to have kids inside or whatever the fuck was going on.
And here's a double standard with it. When they just had all those gay pride parades, there's literally dudes dressed up as women and doing cartwheels and their testicles.
Yes,
and
I remember that too.
Penises all
Seeing that
hanging
too.
out. And you see these little 5 to 10-year-olds watching and their eyes all light up like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
But it's
Weirdness is what
part of their
was.
agenda. And now you're going to have Antifa, who's now also blocking it. Now imagine any other person doing that in front of kids that wasn't dressed up as...
Dude, if I went out in the fucking street
Be arrested.
naked and I started fucking doing cartwheels down the street and like mowing the lawn and shit, like in a pair of fucking combat boots, people would be like calling the fucking cops on me.
But if you put a wig on, you're good.
But if I put a wig on, I'm cool. Like no one gives a shit.
So
Because the cop's going to be scared to arrest you.
So in Roanoke, what happened in Roanoke, which is it was at Anderson Distillery and Grill. They hosted an all ages welcome drag show. Drag queen Trisha Delish, the owner's son,
They do have great names.
hosted the Barrel Babes drag brunch, which featured all these drag queens, right?
Love a good brunch.
And the owner put it on social media. And then several pro-family grassroots organizations like Protect Texas Kids and Texas Family Project encouraged citizens to petition the Anderson Distillery and Grill to raise the event's age limit. And then, as a result, Antifa got involved, basically heard about it, and that's how they showed up.
Wow.
So, if you like this sort of thing, go over to Anderson. If you like your kids going to drag shows, your children, your small children.
Where was this?
In Roanoke, Texas, just north of Fort Worth. You should probably go over to Anderson Distillery and Grill, and show them just a little bit of love. But I assure you, DTF won't be there.
Do you
Keep it to the fucking the trans people that want to go to the bar. Why do they got to draw the kids in and then this is the same shit as the schools doing the indoctrination? It's just like kids shouldn't be in like these younger kids unless they're there to have like a dinner. The show though is kind of unnecessary for children. It's unnecessary for children.
Well, the owner's son is a drag,
which is fine, dude. You know what? Fine. Like, love your son. Have your son's buddies come in dressed like fucking prom queens, and just don't invite the fucking neighborhood kids down for a party. Like, come on.
Totally. But that's what's happened. That's what happened in Dallas, and they got tons of media attention for bringing children in there, and that's what happened elsewhere for bringing children. I mean, it's happened all over the place, and it's just a big publicity stunt is what it is. And they don't care if the children get hurt. They don't care if they chop off their penises when they're 4 years old and get gender reversing drugs from, Yale University medical system or wherever it is, right? Mm-hmm. All sorts of different hospital systems are promoting this stuff and, enabling this gender reassignment. Yeah. Therapy. Right. So it's all about that. They don't care. They just want the money. They want the attention. They want the power, the money and the power.
I need to know, does the article mention for the brunch, Was there any Jimmy Dean's sausages on the menu?
I'm sure.
Or were they all taken off? Get it? Just wondering.
That was a good one, Vinny.
Did it?
No crickets for you today.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I kept, every time he's talking, I'm like, I gotta slide this one in there.
Is that another one? Okay.
No. Yeah. Didn't. Chink.
I
it was not.
had a tinfoil hat moment, but I forgot it now.
Oh, come on.
I
I'm
know.
dying to press
Maybe
this
it'll
button.
come back to me. It was something around a conspiracy
I mean,
about
here's something.
He said the
these
propaganda.
individuals, doing the propaganda to bring, maybe they're getting paid by somebody
Yeah,
to
Soros.
throw these events. That's where I was going earlier with the whole Soros thing. It's like, I don't know. He definitely funds these events. He definitely funds Antifa. I mean, look, allegedly he does, but like it's like the freaking bus driver that allegedly, molested 2 girls.
Allegedly, Russia put out a bunch of fake information. Allegedly, Hunter Biden's
Ukraine
laptop
has biolabs.
Right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So
Do I need to come up with an allegedly? Oh, God, I really feel on the spot here.
allegedly,
Allegedly, they don't want you to
Will
be
Simpson.
nationalistic because it takes away from their new world order. You can't be nationalistic. And that's the problem with your American flag and you don't tread on me, any other nationalistic stance that you want to take
Yeah.
is that it doesn't serve the United Nations. It doesn't serve NATO. It doesn't serve New World Order.
Council of
the
Foreign
Rothschild.
Relations.
That's right.
The Trilateral Commission.
Economic Forum.
It's pretty good.
Is that good? I don't know.
Is that Klaus? Klaus. Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah, that's it. That's my best Klaus Schwab.
Yeah. Changing gears a little bit.
You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
How about a worm burger?
Pete,
Did you see that?
He's money. No, I really want to talk about this fucking 25-year FBI veteran.
Oh,
who-
fucking guy, dude.
Talk about some vindication by Trump here when everyone's like conspiracy theorists, FBI spying on me, and everyone's like, shut up, Trump. No, they're not. No, they're not. This guy's been tweeting out anti-Trump stuff for
Timothy Thibault.
years.
Oh, yeah.
And he was protecting Hunter Biden. He knew he was one of the head individuals, assistant investigators on the Hunter Biden laptop. And him and another FBI agent put it all under the rug, actually closed it out within the FBI as a case saying there's no truth to this whatsoever. And then after he closed it out, he even tried burying it. There's some way of the FBI, in an article I read, that it's almost damn near impossible to reopen it, whatever that means in the article, saying that's what he was doing. And there's all these protocols that he skipped of individuals who had to sign off on it, that he just pretty much went around all of them to put this Hunter Biden stuff buried under, saying false, fake news, not real. And he had 2 FBI people escort him out of the building this past week when everything went out.
Yes,
So,
the 29th, I think it was.
yeah.
Right? Yesterday.
So there's going to be a lot more that comes to this because the director of the FBI, Ray, W-R-A-Y.
Chris Ray. Yeah.
Congress just had him in the front, and he was saying that he was reading a lot of this stuff and he was disgusted by it.
Yeah.
Of all the stuff of his own. So if you think about it, I'm sure it's not just them 2 FBI guys.
Well, think about this. Chris Ray was appointed by Trump, right? And he hasn't been.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he hasn't been removed, which is also extremely interesting.
because if
takes
Joe
time.
Biden does, it's going to probably put a huge magnifying
Well, think
glass.
of the exposure, right? Things that he's learning now and uncovering that he's like, there are definitely in some of these 3-letter agencies, all of them probably, some rogue outfits that are, I do truly believe that a lot of the people in the FBI are doing things that they believe are the right things, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there are factions within the FBI as you get up higher in the organization and you have more and more, of a network. You create your little cells inside your
That's why
cliques,
every
your
agency
cells.
has an internal affairs.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. These are clandestine type things that are like under the radar and no one even knows they exist. It's a secret society inside of a 3-letter agency. You know what I mean? And this guy's a part of it. And this whole thing was to get Trump. And who knows? this has probably been going on for the better part of a century. You know, I mean, the FBI started in what, the 50s, something like that. So,
I mean, I'll admit it. I was always slightly skeptical when Trump would say like, "Oh, the FBI are after me," and me being me, I was like, "Look, if you make an oath to protect and serve and not be biased against any other, political side or whatever you're against, you gotta stand right for the law, what it is and what it says." But after hearing even from the director and reading some of the tweets that these FBI guys were saying about so anti-Trump and making sure that he's not going to win, those FBI guys, and there's 25 years being in there, they have a lot of connections. They know a lot of people, a lot of individuals in political powers. A lot of people have a lot of money that they can easily feed information, hold information back for longer than it needs to be, and literally change the course of history from being in those positions. To me, it's mind blowing that it's all coming to fruition.
yeah.
It's a lot of vindication.
I mean, dude, Trump had the goods on everybody.
You
and that's
say
why,
that. Why is he
dude,
not pulling it out? Because if I'm Trump, you know what I have?
Because
I'm purposely leaking that I have records in there, and it's all Biden's laptop.
He pulls it out, but if he pulls it, like, it's all happening though. Like, more and more people are talking about the laptop. You got fucking Bill Maher talking about the laptop. Like, it's happening, and he's not having to do anything. And because here's the difference: if Trump comes out and does it, everybody who doesn't love Trump is going to be like, fuck this guy. He's just fucking, blowhard, talking shit, throwing out more fucking, whatever bullshit, proof this, proof that. Like, I don't believe him. But if it comes out in the media, because they have no choice but to report on it because it's such a big story,
They make him say uncle.
he doesn't have to do a fucking thing, dude. He doesn't have to lift a finger. He's got all the goods, and he's got this whole thing fucking planned out, and they have to go through with these processes because he's filing lawsuits. He's got people, he's multiple steps ahead of whatever they have going on. And everything that they do ultimately is benefiting him in the long run, because you yourself is saying he's looking like he might be a little vindicated here. He keeps saying the FBI's after him, and it kind of turns out, looks like the FBI, maybe not the FBI, but a group within the FBI definitely wanted Trump to go down.
That's still coming back. Apparently, it was just something got leaked, and that's when they had to fire him. That's what came out as fruition.
Their hands being forced, right?
Yeah, the FBI, something was leaked where some news person said it, and it was out there, and like, shit.
Right, and you can say that it's Trump, right? But it's really Trump team, right? Team Trump,
that's
right?
what I mean.
And, no, I know it is, but I figured I should say it explicitly, because I think that where a lot of people get caught up is they say, "No way did Trump do this. Trump is this. This is my idea of Trump." But it isn't just Trump. Trump's a smart guy, obviously, but like, he's got a whole lot of smart people surround themselves with smarter people.
Right.
Yeah, and agree to disagree. I feel he's made so many missteps, and I don't think he has all of his ducks in a row. I mean, holograms on them, and they're going to come out. Nothing happened. Hey, Arizona, we finally got him. Nothing happened. He had Rudy Giuliani up there, all these smart parent people, boom, boom. And all these people are being picked off all around them, and they're folding, and they're being taken down left and right. A lot of people are then being accused. They're looking at all their taxes, and also he's losing a lot of allies because they don't want to be associated to him. And that's part of the FBI and DOJ's strategy. And then look at the other stuff. Look at January 6th. That was a huge misstep. Huge. That was like 15 steps back. He should never have done that. And with what's coming up now, with having those stupid fucking files, that was an idiot move. And a lot of stuff that's coming out right now that he knew about it. He returned a bunch of boxes and still held on out of spite, or I don't know, saying that I'm allowed to, and it was privileged information. There's no reason to have it. Why even cause more of an issue? Why even put yourself in that jeopardy?
He just showed how corrupt the FBI is by doing exactly that. That's exactly why he did it.
It makes no. Why even do that though?
Because now the whole fucking country's talking about how corrupt the FBI is.
I don't.
Even the fucking even the left is like,
yeah, I mean that's what
talking about it.
That's what this Timothy
Yeah,
Thibault thing is.
They're
about.
all talking about it, dude.
It's the
No,
thong.
They're all going to be talking about
He
this.
could literally.
They're going to be like, is the FBI as corrupt as Trump says?
Well,
So why
it's
not?
been corrupt. It's been proven time and time again, and this is just another time.
but like you
But
go
if
back to
I'm-
the
then Trump's literally fallen into their trap, because then if you know the FBI is corrupt, who's to say the FBI is not planning more stuff there? Just to nail him to the fucking cross.
maybe he doesn't give a shit because
If you know they're that corrupt,
he's
I wouldn't
actually
do
in control of the
anything.
situation.
If I'm the smart people around him, I'm like, you know what you do is you get more and more Biden's pictures, Hunter Biden's pictures, and you put them in there and you put out a false news story so they do invade it. And then you said, hey, we have camera systems all set up in here to making sure they're not planning it. But he has the wrong, like, if I'm the smart people around him, I'm like, you get all that shit out of there because you're giving them a reason to plant more stuff on you to prove to all the Trump haters that you are corrupt and you have classified information that you shouldn't have, that you're asked to return, and now you can't run again.
I don't think he should do a hoax, if that's what you're saying. I mean, what he's just saying is that the Russia hoax was a hoax, and it was proven to be a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're suggesting is that, you know, you plant information, you make up shit, but like he doesn't have to. They're corrupt as they need to be. There's plenty of damning evidence out there that he doesn't have to make anything.
Supposedly, the documents were declassified documents that had information on the whole Crossfire hurricane, and it had information in there on the Clintons, the Obamas, and other folks that were tied to the Crossfire hurricane investigation. And he declassified everything on Twitter, which he is legally able to do. He did it over a year ago, and he then kept the documentation that was declassified at his house, and I believe they were just copies, right? But he had to give them back, but he just like, you know, whatever. They then went and got these documents. Like these documents now have to get entered into some evidentiary form of, you know, whatever the justice system does with these documents that they took from him.
Yeah, there's a lot. They've already posted that they redacted a bunch, and even that stuff looks
Everything.
really bad.
Well, that was
a lot of it looks really bad, though. To be able to say a president declassified it through Twitter, to me, is like the stupidest fucking shit in the world.
But it's legal. All he has to say is, I'm declassifying this content.
But why
and
put
then it
yourself in a
becomes-
fucking position like that? It makes no fucking sense. I think it's the stupidest shit.
Because you can't get anybody else to publish it, so you just publish it yourself. I mean, why beg New York Times to publish it for you?
Yeah, but there's a process to declassify stuff. You don't do it on Twitter. You find one of your smart people that's around you.
I think Obama's
And
done
do
it, declassified documents on Twitter. I think presidents have done it. I think it's a thing. Like I don't think it's just Trump that's done
I mean,
it.
you can do it in any news outlet. You know,
You just
I mean,
have to announce
you
it
You can do
publicly.
it in. I mean, they used to do it in some no-name newspaper. You know, with a population of 500. Is that better than just declassifying it on Twitter? I would say definitely not.
I get we're going down a rabbit hole here.
Oh, for sure.
But
I mean,
I
like-
don't know why you would open yourself up to anything like that
I-
personally.
Well,
I
when you run for
personally
president of the
think
United
yeah.
States, you open yourself up. To
Well, and going back to the election shit, his endorsed candidates right now heading into midterms are 199 and 7. So if you think people aren't paying attention to what Trump is saying, like this is the difference between like the mainstream media not doing anything to display anything that Trump does and what's actually happening, which is his candidates that he's endorsed out of the 208 that he's endorsed so far, 206.
6, yeah.
199 of them have won in their primary race for whatever position, whether it's a house seat. All the house seats are up for grabs in November. Almost half the Senate seats are up for grab. I think 36 out of 100? I think it's 36 out of 100 maybe that are up for grabs in the Senate. And or maybe it's 36 out of 50 governor races are up for grabs. And 45 out of 100 Senate seats, something like that, close to half. So, and he's 199 and 7 with his, and he's already backed a bunch of people that are already in. So if this wave of Trump support gets voted into their seats in November, all of this shit that like you just mentioned about the election and all the evidence that different companies and groups and people have been collecting, like Mike Lindell from My Pillow has been on this like complete fucking journey for the last year and a half, buying companies that are tied to voting systems so that he can have a look at their data, like all sorts of crazy shit that he's doing to see what the fuck happened in the 2020 election. You've got Carrie Lake, who's going to probably become the governor of Arizona. And if she does, she's going to open up an investigation into the 2020 election, which the current governor refused to do, and which she's going to do it. And it's going to show all the shit that, you know, you're seeing on Mike Lindell's Moment of Truth Summit.
The truth will come out.
And, you know, the 2000 Mules documentary. All that truth is going to come out. I know it's 2 years later and people are like, fuck it, nothing's ever going to happen. It's all this bullshit. Nothing's happening because everyone's swept it under the rug because the fucking Democrats are in control. The liberals are in control of Congress. And so when they're in control of Congress, nothing can happen. House flips red, Senate flips red, Joe Biden's getting impeached, and it's going to be a fucking wild ride. Grab your popcorn.
Well, that's why, you know, I mean, the game plan for Republicans, because they don't control mainstream media, is to discredit the mainstream media. And they don't really have to try all that hard to do that. There's a reason why podcasting is at an all-time high, because nobody trusts the narrative. Nobody believes the mainstream media anymore. I mean, hell, that's why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a really easy, you know, case to make for all these Republicans is that, you know, it's just a bunch of lies. There's a Russian hoax. I mean, there's all kinds of hoaxes out there. You know, the mask bullshit. You got to wear a mask. You don't got to wear a mask.
The COVID
the
hoax.
vaccine, you know, all the COVID things. There's so many hoaxes within the hoax. You know, it's an onion in itself.
They're getting so fucking panicked because, like, they thought Hillary was going to win the election. Trump wins the election. He's an outsider. He gets in. He gets his hands and his eyes on everything and is like, whoa, this shit's corrupt. We got to fucking really, like, this swamp is worse than I thought. So he immediately puts a team in place to freaking clean. He's going to win again, and the corruption is going to continue to get unraveled, and the people are going to get more and more exposed. And the only way to prevent that is to ensure by any means necessary that he's out, and that fucking the geriatric fucking ice cream eating, you know, resident in chief decides to fucking, you know, become president after 47 years of doing nothing in Congress, and who has a son who's a fucking total crackhead pedophile, according to the pictures and shit that's on his laptop that the FBI suppressed.
My
to
Son
protect
Hunter. Are you ready to? Have you seen that movie?
I've seen the trailer.
The trailer?
It looks freaking good.
You seen
Robert
the movie?
Davey from
No.
the Goonies. Robert Davey.
I got a bootleg copy. A buddy of mine has a VHS, you know, camcorder. He sat in the screening. Just kidding.
Old school.
No, definitely didn't happen. But that looks like a great flick.
So,
like it could be a great flick. Maybe
You got
it's trash.
Trump,
I don't
and
know.
you guys, you know, are looking at this a lot more optimistic than I am about Trump. I mean, I look at it as, hey, he won, he beat Hillary, now he's in there, and he's going to clean out the swamp. Then he was fucking impeached twice. You know, he puts a guy in charge of the FBI that immediately starts investigating him. That wasn't too smart. Another bad move. So what's the difference between Trump and DeSantis? DeSantis, who's not going to get blasted nearly as bad by the mainstream media as Trump will. You know, I feel that
Christopher Wray didn't start investigating him. It was Comey was the guy Obama appointed.
Comey.
They're the ones who did the investigation.
there was
into
another
the
one
Russia
that he
hoax and
put
all
in
that
point.
shit.
I know, because then
Yeah,
he
it
was
was
like,
Christopher Wray. It was before he left office, though. It wasn't like it was partway through his term. It wasn't for the
still,
hoax, though.
he
Like,
put him in place.
yeah,
And
but
the
he's
guy
not.
turns around. So even if he didn't, he's still picking the wrong people.
I don't think he did it, though. I don't think Ray did it. I think it was like this other rogue fucking group that went and did like some of this stuff, like suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story, and then, you know, escalated the, I don't know, whatever, the affidavit or whatever it was to go and get the Mar-a-Lago raid going. Like,
Well, there's
The point
These people
is,
are really smart.
in order to get
though.
impeached, though, twice as president, you you changed a lot of people's seats and when you are president, okay? And it still happened, which means you have majority of the people working against you because even the people you appoint at the top, they have to sign off on a lot of this stuff. So the people below them gathering all that information. To me, personally, I'd rather have, we're kind of going on a weird tangent here. We're talking about Trump, DeSantis.
That's cool though.
Than Trump running.
Election season.
Yeah. So I'm just tired of the constant, and I think DeSantis would still open up the investigation for 2020. I think he would still want to have that justified.
I'm fine with either one of them winning. Honestly, it's whoever wins the primary. I'm going to vote for either one of them. It just whichever one wins, I'm voting for.
Who's going to run?
They're both going to
Because
run.
today Biden
I don't know.
just officially
Trump's got like a
Biden just came out.
55% right now in the polls, and DeSantis is still floating in the teens.
DeSantis is running around. He's doing his campaign tour right now.
I know, and it takes a long time to build a war chest when he doesn't have the money Trump has, and he may get the backing and people are gonna donate to his. It's gonna take number one, he's also, I think, isn't there a governor election in Florida? So he's doing that, number one, but he's also, while doing that, he's doing a more kind of national, he's put himself more in the national spotlight. He doesn't have the kind of money Trump has. I don't think he has the same political backing currently in DC that Trump has. And he's not out there endorsing any other candidates like Trump is. I mean, again, 199-7, and like DeSantis isn't out there even publicly endorsing anybody. I think you're going to see the red wave hit in the fall. I think everything's going to flip, personally. And I think DeSantis is going to notice that it's all Trump people in Congress, and he's going to say, you know what, Trump should be in the White House for 4 years to make sure he can finish what he started. VP then? He might, if Trump asks him, he might. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I just don't think DeSantis is going to bother running right now.
I don't think it's the right play for him to tinge his reputation with Trump, because even though, Trump has a reputation, and if DeSantis saddles up and vice presidents with Trump, it could affect him negatively.
Oh, 100%. I think that's the last thing other than what to do is go head to head.
No, that's what I've been saying the whole time.
I think
I feel
everyone doesn't want to see that.
I know.
It's just bad for both of them.
Yeah. I would think that he'd wait, let Trump have another run. And if he doesn't win, then, once he gets Trump's blessing, he'll run.
I mean, who knows? Trump could be in there sooner, because he just said yesterday that they need to do a new election because the FBI basically, suppressed the Hunter Biden story via Facebook and probably all other social media outlets.
Yeah.
Even though they came out with a statement saying, hey, we always notify people. Of course, they're going to come out with that statement. But Zuckerberg was pretty, on Rogan, was pretty, straightforward about, they told us that stories were going to come in and they were most likely Russian disinformation, and that we should, and then we scaled them back. And
how much coaching do you think Zuckerberg's lawyers told him what not to
Oh
say?
my God!
And then he says that, and they're probably like, "Oh,
he probably prepared for an entire day heading into that, including all morning right before he got in.
Top 10 things what not to say. That was top 3.
They wanted him on Joe Rogan. They wanted him on the JRE Experience. I mean,
Mark.
they did. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, that was a
Facebook's plummeting
stunt.
like crazy.
Yeah, that's an attempt to save face.
It is.
Fuck it.
Meta.
Yeah, it becomes meta today or tomorrow. Or I don't know when it was, but
I'm off it.
Till next time.
Are you listening? Damn.
All right, Patriots. That's it for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us once again. For Luke and Vinny this week, this is Jeremy. We'll see you next time. Freedom. I'm DTF. You guys DTF?
all day.
Let's go.
All night.
Are you DTF?
That's all good.
We miss you, Jeff.